What's up, YouTube? So I want to share a couple stories with you and a principle within the story pertaining to your imagination, and then I got a couple cool things to share with you as well. That's a train going on in the background. We got some good vibes in nature all the time. So walking the dog here with got the bare feet. What's up, Brian? Say hello to the peeps. Yeah, he's busy sniffing. So a couple years ago, it was 2017, I believe, I had the opportunity to go to Australia for a business and entrepreneurship delegation, is what it's called. I got to eat lunch with the CEO of a marketing company, talked about ayahuasca and some other. He met Tim Ferriss, is a pretty cool guy. His name's Steve Glavesky. Also, got to meet the general manager of 3M over in Australia in Sydney. Got to go skydiving, swam with sharks. What else did I get to do? Oh, got to introduce the head of marketing at the Sydney Zoo. And just a really incredible experience. It's my first time traveling alone, my first time outside of the country, and my first time flying a plane. I flew 9 planes, 10 days, including skydiving. So really, really incredible trip. And before I went there, I heard about it through my college, and I didn't think I was going to get into it. You know, they accepted like 100 people per program. They had like business and medicine and engineering and technology, all kind, a couple different programs, and they accepted like 100 people in each program. And I originally wanted to do like the medicine one, because I was thinking I wanted to be some kind of doctor or something like that. I wasn't quite sure yet. I wanted to work with like herbal medicines, but I didn't really know exactly what. Didn't have a definite plan. That's going to be important in a second. So I signed up for the medicine one, and I don't finish filling it out yet because my parents and I were figuring out a money situation, and it fills up, and I get put on the waiting list for next year. So I'm like, darn it. I get pretty irritated about this because I'm like, well, I wanted to go do this, and I wanted to, I want to go to Australia, and I want to go now. I don't want to wait. This was in like February. Trip was in May. I didn't want to wait till next year. So a friend of mine at the time said, well, why don't you just sign up for the business one? And I was like, well, I don't want to do business. I don't know, And even though my whole family has been a line of entrepreneurs and business people on both sides, I didn't have any interest in it at the time, even though I've had several businesses myself. But turns out I ended up signing up for that one anyway. Get right into it. Money gets handled. Everything gets figured out. And so the point here is the power of your imagination. So I was using this law of imagination, law of assumption, law of attraction, law of consciousness, law, whatever you want to call it. I was using this long before I ever knew how it worked or what it was, or that it even existed. And we all do, every single one of us, from the moment we were born. And so the trick here is I saw myself, I started getting dreams. Like this is my unconscious, my subconscious mind was doing a lot of work for me because I had no idea what I was doing or how to make it work. But essentially what happened is you just started having dreams about it. I was like, all right, well, I want to do this. And I didn't really focus on it too much. And I think that's a big problem, at least for my life, and I think in some other people's lives, is that they have something they want, but they focus on getting it so much that they don't let go of control, and they try to force it to happen, and they get in their own way. And so the power of your imagination, this is really cool, is there's a series of steps, and I think we each have our own individual steps that are a little different for each person that we go through when we want something. Another thing I've created in my life is the relationship that I'm in right now, and it's truly beautiful. It's truly magnificent. She's my best friend, and I've never, not even like felt something like this, but it's so incredible, the connection that we have, and that when I say something, when she says something, the message that we intend to send is the exact message that gets received. We're just on the same vibration, same frequency, the same wavelength, however you want to look at it. It's perfect. And it's mature, and it's just incredible. Communication, comprehension is it's amazing. But people don't seem to realize, okay, they want something, say it's money, for example. They want something, but they don't let go of control. They imagine it. They can say, oh, I got this new car, I got this, go on these trips, or I can buy this good food now, or I can go travel, all these things. But they don't relinquish control. They don't surrender to the process of what's happening. And that is probably the most important part, because the rest of it's easy, the rest of it's fun, the rest of it's makes perfect sense. I want something, I dream about it, I feel it, I envision it, I hear myself there, I smell the smells I would smell if I were in that place, I would taste the foods, all those, you envelop your senses, you indulge yourself in your mind in realizing your desire fully. But what doesn't make sense, okay, so first you enable all of your senses and your desire. Let's say your desire is to travel. Very easy. Let's go to another country. All right, let's go to Australia. Let's just use that because we're talking about it. So you look up the culture and you read about it. You watch videos and you hear the accents and all those types of things. And by the way, anyone from Australia watching this, you guys, wonderful country. Some of the nicest people I've ever met there. So kudos to whatever you guys are doing over there. America needs to learn some more of it. But I've also met some wonderful people in America too. So I think it's also just your own attitude and how you look at things. So you visualize and imagine the culture. You know what you're looking at, what it sounds like, how the food's different. You start imagining those things, and maybe you can try some of the foods here that are similar to over there. Vegemite, nasty stuff. But so then you start building momentum. I'll make another video about momentum, but that's really crucial. You start snowballing. You start getting closer to what you want to create or manifest or live, or what your dreams are. And then you get excited. You start feeling all the emotions towards it. So you got the senses, then you've got the imagination, and then you've got the emotions, okay? And obviously the thoughts are in there too. And then the cool thing that really starts to happen is that your actions and your behavior starts aligning with your visions, your dreams, your imagination, your emotions, etc. So, but this is what trips people up, is that they're taking action, they're dreaming, they're visualizing every single day, but they forgot one crucial piece, and that's surrendering to the process. It's trusting the process. They think, oh, well, I'm just gonna work my butt off until I get there. I'm just gonna work hard, put in 18 hours a day, and then I'll get it. I'll get what I want. And I've been in a lot of scenarios. I've done a lot of work in my life, and the work that I've done that I thought was going towards my goals didn't get me there. I was spinning my tires. In a network marketing company for a while, probably talked to a couple thousand people. Not a single person got on my team. But it was because I was not in alignment. Well, two things. It was not in alignment with my higher purpose. And two, I didn't surrender to the process. So what does surrendering to the process mean? How do we do this? You have to, at least for me, and I don't ever want to tell anybody what exactly they need to do. This whole YouTube channel, my blog, and the business and everything is not designed to tell people what to do or even how to do something unless they specifically ask for that, but rather to just present my experiences, share my perspective, offer tools, and show people how to use the tools, or just show people how to become reliant on their own toolbox and find what tools they need in their toolbox. Hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, let me know. But so surrendering to the process is very important, and what it means is you have to explore all possibilities of what might happen. All the good, all the bad. I mean, everything. Really, and this is where a lot of people, because they don't like to look at they don't like to look at themselves fully, they don't like to look in the mirror and be honest with themselves and be raw and be real, this is where perspective from others comes in. This is where coaching comes in. This is where someone who's just kind of being an asshole is like, hey, you need to knock that off. And maybe that person doesn't stick around very long, but someone's blunt with you. Because you're not being blunt with yourself. And that's not necessary, but for a lot of people, they like the social feedback. I've spent a lot of time in my life in isolation. I've kind of preferred that in most cases. I love people. I love all people. But I found that I learned the most about myself no, not the most. I enjoy learning about myself in silence. I love coming out here in the woods. I love camping, and I love sharing this experience with others. Absolutely, but I do value my alone time. And so, when we can surrender to the process by exploring all possibilities, worst case scenarios, good, best case scenarios, and just trusting that God, universe, energy, source, Buddha, Jesus, Allah, whatever, God, the energy will complete our desire if we are in fact aligned with what we actually want. If what you want is true to you and it's real and it's authentic, then you'll get it. It's already yours. You can't mess it up. Well, I mean, you can mess it up, but you really got to try to mess it up. And so here's the thing. Energy in physics takes the path of least resistance. What does that mean? It means that the shortest point from A to B is a straight line. So if A is where you're at and B is where you want to go, shortest distance, least amount of energy is a straight line. Pretty simple, pretty common sense. So in order to mess your life up, first of all, there's two ways you can mess your life up. One, by just not dreaming and not caring. And two, well, not caring in a sense of, like, I really just don't give a shit if my life goes well. You just really just apathetic and not caring. I mean, there's another way to not care, and I'll say in a second. So one, you just don't dream, and two, you try too hard to get it. You focus too much. You spend way too much time trying to control everything, and that's where not caring comes in the sense of you just let it go. So it's not like you don't care, like you're apathetic and you're just, depressed or anything like that, but not caring in the sense of I do all the work that I can, but I leave the rest up to God. And I know the Bible talks about that. I know the Tao Te Ching talks about that. I'm sure, of course, other religious and spiritual texts talk about that as well. But the bottom line is just trust it. Trust yourself. Trust the fact that, okay, check this out, guys. The chances of a human being existing is 400 trillion to 1. That's a sperm fertilizing an egg. 400 trillion to 1. That's a really big number. Astronomical number. It's crazy. So the chances that you're alive, let alone having ears to hear this and eyes to watch me and, fingers to touch the buttons and everything and cell phones and all this kind of crazy stuff. The fact that you have all this is just, it's a miracle. You are a miracle in and of itself. So what you really want, really sit down and ask yourself, and this is one of the courses I just finished creating and putting on the blog later, is imaginative design. So what do you really want out of life? And how can we get that there for you? Because you can have anything you want. Anything, good or bad. So be careful. Ask yourself what you really want. The genie, A, has unlimited wishes, and B is inside of you. You don't have to rub no magic lamp to get you genie. You just gotta trust yourself. So in conclusion, wrap this video up here. In conclusion, if you really want something, ask for it. Ask yourself what is your true desire or desires, and involve every single part of your being in it, but at the same time be balanced by allowing God to take care of that which you cannot control. You don't always know how it will happen, and you don't know when it will happen, but if you want it and it's true to you, and you're patient and you're kind with yourself, and you trust God within you to take the right action, and you trust yourself, you trust God outside of you to move people and circumstances and events into accordance with your desire, then you will absolutely get it. I can promise you that without a question of doubt, without a shadow of doubt. Well, I don't know how that saying goes, but you get what I'm saying. So, bottom line, ask, trust, receive. Really simple. And I'll make more videos more specific on each different part of the manifestation process, but that in a nutshell is it. The biggest thing is don't get in your way. Don't get in your way by trying to force it, and you'll be just fine. So I hope you guys all have a snazzy day. Looking forward to hearing from you, and be on the lookout for lots of content and the marketplace coming out. See ya.